outrage in Minneapolis tonight. The community wants to know why it took police almost a week to arrest a white man accused of shooting his black neighbor. This was the moment Davis Mature was shot while trimming a tree outside his home last Wednesday. He was hit near his spine. He's back home recovering now. Police say his neighbor, John Shawshak, pulled the trigger, but it took 5 days for law enforcement to arrest him. Court documents allege Shawshak harassed Mature for months before the shooting.
We failed this victim 100% because that should not have happened to him. The Minneapolis police somehow did not act urgently enough to prevent that individual from being shot.
Shawshak is booked on attempted murder, assault, stalking, and harassment charges.
Greetings from the east to north to south, in this wicked ass press. The topic, the double standard of these good Christian devils. The question, why you think it took 5 days to arrest this good Christian devil? Let's get into it. I am your host. I am the one.
Okay, now the name of the show is Why You Think, okay? So I'm going to tell you what I think. This is what I think. Number one, how many times would it take for your wife, Mr. Police Chief, your wife, your daughter, your mom, how many times would it take for them to call in before you make some type of response? How many times? 1, 2, 3? Okay. But in this case, 19 times, benign neglect. I hope I'm saying that word right. If I'm not, look it up. Benign neglect. In other words, I'm just hoping just go away, go away, go away. One of the police officers told him, well, why don't you just move? Wow. Why don't you just move? And this phony police chief devil, he made statements that we're not going to just run in and with our guns blazing. No. We're going to take our time. Can you imagine if that was a black family? If you think of Philadelphia, if you don't know what I'm talking about in the 80s, look it up. This U.S. government went in with bombs, burnt them out. But somehow this devil that had complaint after complaint after complaint against him, restraining orders, multi-restraining orders, had a warrant out for his arrest. But this good Christian devil, they took their time before they finally made an arrest. The chief of police is such a liar. If this brother would have took the law into his own hands and laid him down, he would have been arrested and considered a vigilante. So in other words, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. What a system we live under. If he would have protected his family, it would have been called, he would have been considered a vigilante. Y'all know I can't talk, but you know what I'm trying to say. So he would have to get shot in order for these good Christian devils to do anything about it. And he also had to wait 5 days. I'm pretty sure he had a favorite sports show that he had to watch before they arrested him. Just like that devil, what's his name, Dylan Roof. He was so hungry after he done shot, I don't know how many black people in the church, but he was hungry, so they had to take him into McDonald's. Minnesota. Black population, 7%. Prison population, 39%. Now, the numbers may vary, but it's about 39%, 38% black prison population. The population of Minnesota is 7% black. And people say something wrong with me. No, there's something wrong with these numbers. There's something seriously wrong with these numbers. How these good Christian, they can get away with anything. And they either hesitate to make an arrest or they don't make an arrest at all. You will be, well, maybe you won't, amazed how many of these people have committed crimes and is still sitting at home. Now, I want you to remember again, black population of Minnesota. Minnesota is 7%. Black population. Prison population, 39%. And they're going to tell me this system is just and fair. Now, what I'm going to do is remember, there's always two medias. You got the grassroots black media, which is really bringing the truth. And then you got the mainstream media. They'll always put a different spin on a situation. Every single time one of these good Christian devils, they commit a crime, the first thing they'll throw out is mental health. Now, when a black commit a crime, well, you know, they're a bunch of animals, you know, untamed. They'll go on and on and on. This guy did not have mental health issues if blacks don't have mental health issues. Why use that as an excuse for this dirty, filthy devil? Minnesota already have problems. Years ago, his name is George Floyd. Really. But every single time they try to pacify blacks about police reform, and they would say, "Don't worry, we're gonna take care of it." The only thing they are doing is what they have been doing forever. They will promise you everything and give you nothing. You know, qualified immunity. Let's handle that. Let's make them pay. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do it. In other words, this is going to continue until it boils over. One thing is happening right now, and that we seem to see all around the world, is flooding. One disaster after the next. My last video, I had to respond to this black devil that got upset because we're saying it's the actions of the Most High God, paying back reparations, paying restitution. And there's nothing no one can do to stop it. But one thing is happening now is we're getting hurricane after hurricane, storm after storm, rainstorm after rainstorm, flooding after flooding after flooding. This is happening all around the world. Just like in the case of Moses, the black man in this country, the Hispanic man in this country, the Indians, the Native Indians all around the world. Those that are believers, they're saying, hey, stop the police brutality. You know, stop this mass incarceration. Stop. And these good Christian devils, they said no. Moses came along. Moses said, from the direction of the Most High God, let my people go. They have refused. One thing I can guarantee you, there will be storm after storm after storm. We must remain faithful unto the end. It's just that simple. We're not going to beat these people. They're too powerful. But one thing we can do is follow the Most High laws, because we can see there's a change in the earth. People has begun to rise up And they're saying enough is enough is enough. And these people will continue, just like in the days of Moses. In the end, they will be destroyed. Let me follow up with this next video. Let me show you the hypocrisy of these devils. Let me just show you the hypocrisy.
Adding, the last 11 months since he and his wife moved in, they've been living a nightmare next door to John Shawshak. Court documents show the victim called police 19 times prior to the shooting for incidents including harassment, hate speech, and verbal threats. It also says Shawshak suffers from mental illness. Shawshak has been charged with attempted murder, but he is not in jail. Police allowing him to stay in his home because they say he's a threat to himself and others.
The likelihood of an armed, violent confrontation where we may have to use deadly force with the suspect in this case is high.
That excuse sparking community outrage.
We have to take violent criminals off the street. So I'm not a police officer. I don't know how that gets done, but I know it needs to get done.
Police say Shawshak rarely leaves his home, and the department has not set an arrest date.
We are not going to bust the door down, guns blazing, and get into a deadly force situation, but we will ensure the community will be safe.
Wow, did you hear that? If you took the same attitude of conserving black life, like you really want to conserve this life, we'll have a better system here in America. We will have a really better system. Now, your officers train for this type of thing. They train for this type of situation. They're trained for that. Now, if it was a black man, you would have came, you would have went in, whether he lived or died, it wouldn't have mattered to you one way or another. But I would like to play a Joe Biden bit, a small little video where Joe Biden was making this reference towards black people, mainly black males. Well, black males and females, but mainly black males. He was talking about predators on the street. He said, it doesn't matter. Get them off the street. It doesn't matter. But somehow now we want to make an exception. I'll be right back.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
So when Joe Biden was compiling the 1994 crime bill, and what he was saying was to get the criminals off the street. What he was talking about is black criminals, okay? He was talking about black criminals. There are two different criminals in the world. There's two sets of crime in the world, or especially in America. Well, America is worldwide. America commit crimes worldwide. I don't want to deviate from the topic, so I digress. What happens is it's two standards here in America. You got the black standard, and of course you got the you got that standard. That standard seems to think that when they commit crimes, it's really not a crime. It's almost like when we was coming up, it was called lying, or you are a liar. So this good Christian, they came up with white lie. What lie? Yeah. This one right here. It ain't really a black lie. No, that's for them, them ninjas. When you tell a white lie, it's okay. It's almost like the crime, You got real crime, And then you got this type of crime. And these people, they don't go to jail unless they forced to go to jail. You know, it's almost like I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But let me just pretty much conclude with a final video about a young girl in Baltimore. I want to make a comparison. Now, I'm going to set the situation up, and then I'm going to let it play off the video. There's a 13-year-old girl, okay? She gets into it with a grown, good Christian woman. Okay, so the police were called. So immediately they put the 13-year-old in handcuffs, okay? And the good Christian, she was standing, no handcuffs on, none, talking on her phone. They didn't know the details. Now, there were people standing around explaining, wait a minute, hold up, just wait, hold on for a minute. This good Christian, she was equally at fault. But, of course, the young 13-year-old was put in handcuffs. Let me show you this. Because what I'm trying to say is there's a distinct difference between the treatment of blacks and whites in this country. Big difference. The criminal justice system, and they call it justice system. They call it justice. But there's a big difference in how they treat one crime versus another crime. Check this video out.
They're still doing it, arresting teenagers against the law, interrogating them contrary to statute. All because, well, a white female accosted a 13-year-old kid, according to the report. Here it is.
How you doing, sir? She was involved right here. I know it is, but she involved in
Beyond of that.
needs to be
Beyond of
detained.
that. She was fighting. Going back up 7-Eleven.
So Baltimore police got a 13-year-old in handcuffs. They got a 13-year-old in handcuffs without her parents.
It's well.
That was into an altercation with this lady. This lady isn't doing anything. She's not in handcuffs or nothing.
And you're not.
Hey, yo, no, I ain't gonna lie. Doing moves on that girl. You did moves on her. She did moves on her. It was a football move. She did it all. It wasn't like she was one-on-one game. She's only there.
This is the sergeant.
Sergeant is looking like he definitely doesn't have command, seeming clueless, not wanting to do anything, based on my opinion. Put up the contrast picture full mass. You have a 13-year-old child in handcuffs, and the woman who attacked her not in handcuffs. I'm going to give you the background to this story, a TikTok video showing a 13-year-old Baltimore girl in handcuffs following a purported altercation with an older woman has elicited outrage from witnesses and viewers alike. They wondered questions like, why was the 13-year-old black girl handcuffed while the white female adult not?
Okay, one thing I would never do is negate the fact that our youngsters are totally out of control. One of the things we must do is get our young kids together. I don't really know the situation, but one thing that black kids must realize is that we're not going to be treated equal. A lot of times we start stuff. A lot of times we only defending ourselves. But one thing we must realize when you're raising these young teenagers is you're not going to get equal justice under the American justice system. One thing they taught us when I was in school. That was way, way back, 60s, 70s. They taught us the Pledge of Allegiance. It went, I pledge allegiance to the flag for the United States of America. And one nation, I forgot what the hell the rest was. But at the end, it said, liberty and justice for all. That was never, ever the truth. It was never the truth. I can't believe I forgot it. What was it? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Something like that. That's been over, 50 years ago. But the point is, at the end, it made you say liberty and justice for all. In one part of the Constitution, it says equal protection under the law, which is just a flat out lie. America must stand up to what's right. But one thing I do realize is they would never do it. The brother named, he died years ago, Khalid Muhammad. He said total separation. Total separation. Because other than that, it's not going to ever happen. And that's not going to even happen. It's not going to happen. Imagine, like the slaves lived a whole lifetime never knowing what was justice. Never had no peace their whole lives. Whole lives enslaved. Never had no peace. The people that was born 1900s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, on and on, never seen what it's like to have justice. One of the things they tell me is to go to the African nation. They say one thing that you will never experience is the white man. Let me phrase this right, because the white man got his hands all in Africa. But racial profiling, that's pretty much it. You won't experience that. They said something you wouldn't even understand. So I would like to visit the African nation once before I get up out this earth. But I'm up out of here. I thank you for watching. I am your host. I am the one.